a look at a couple of examples that will help you to complete assignment number 706 on Desmos. So the first thing is to know that you're dealing with all three transformations. That's translations, reflections, and rotations. So let's take a look at this one here. Can you identify the type of translation that occurred, right? So the transformation is translation for this problem, which means that this is a slide. But can you tell me exactly what occurred? And can you tell me in two different ways? So let's take a look at the original point E, and let's take a look at the new point E prime. How did E relocate to point E prime? What happened? Well, if I simply count boxes, I can see that I went 1 unit to the right, 1 unit right, and then I went 2 units down. That's one way you could describe the translation that occurred. Another way is by writing a rule. So keep this in mind as you're looking at your questions in Desmos today. So this is not the rule. That's the English sentence that describes what happened. But if you move 1 unit right, and you move 2 units down, you are actually doing some math to the x and y coordinates. So if you're moving 1 to the right, you're taking your x coordinate and you're adding 1. That's a rule. And if you're moving 2 units down, you're taking your y coordinate and you're subtracting 2. That is how you write a rule. You simply show what happens to the coordinate numbers. And when you're translating, you're adding or subtracting. Let's take a look at another one here. How would we describe the translation that occurred? If I said, write the rule, then you're going to start like this. And you're going to think about what numbers you're going to add, or what number you might subtract, because we don't know what's going to happen, but that's how we begin. So let's take a look at our original G and see how did we get to G prime. Well, we went 1 unit to the left. Now we did not have to go up or down, so we can put a 0 there, or we can just leave it alone, meaning we didn't do anything to the y value. So that is how you write a rule. That is how you write a rule for translations. Now let's think about how do you write a rule for a reflection. In order to write a rule for a reflection, you need to be given an example. So let's take a look here. I have a reflection shown on the screen. I have a quadrilateral, that's this one here, named STUV. And when I move it or transform it, it becomes S prime, T prime, U prime, V prime. It becomes this shape over here. The question is, how did it get there? Did it flip over the x-axis, or did it flip over the y-axis? So that's the first thing you need to identify. It looks to me like it's flipping from up to down. So that is a reflection, and you can use the word in, around, over, about, reflection over the x-axis. And the rule for reflection is this. If you reflect over the x-axis, which is what we're doing, then you will change the sign of your y-coordinate. That is the rule. So if you have a point, the rule is keep them in the same order, but change the sign of the y. That is the math rule. That's how you write it. Let's take a look at the next one. I have triangle MNP. It looks like it started on the right, but it ended over here on the left. That's a reflection over the y-axis. When you reflect over the y-axis, what's the rule? The rule is you change the sign of the x, because a reflection is always opposite. If you flip over the y, you change the x. If you flip over the x, you change the y, right? That's what we did here. So this is how you write a math rule. Let's try writing a math rule for a rotation. So here's a look at a quadrilateral RSTU. RSTU looks like it starts in the lower quadrant number 4, and then it somehow moves up and goes over to quadrant number 1. So it looks like I'm going this way. And if you know anything about rotation, this way is counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. So there's two ways to go about beginning this. Either you remember the rule for a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation, which is that you swap the points and negate the first value. That's a counterclockwise rotation. If you didn't know that, then you would write down an original point, like point R, which is 1, 2, 3, negative 1. Then you would look at the new point, R prime, which is 1, 1, 2, 3, and you can see, literally, the numbers have swapped positions and you've changed the sign of the first number. That's the rule. That is the rule. And that's how you write the rule. You go find the formula from the notes and you copy it down. That's it. So let's do a little recap here. If you are asked to write a rule, you are asked to describe mathematically what is happening to the points. So for these translations, it's that you are adding numbers to each of those coordinates. But if you're looking at a reflection, you are changing the sign of one value. Be sure to write which value is changing. And if you're looking at a rotation, you're looking to write the rule for which direction you are rotating. So if you are rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise, you would say you swap the points and you negate the first value. Alright, so that's how you write a rule. Now, how do you actually draw a transformation? Let's say we have something like this. You are given a quadrilateral JKLM, and you are asked to translate it either mathematically or you're asked to translate it in English. And this is what this means. 5 units right and 7 units down. So whether it's written using a math rule or whether it's written in English, you simply take each of your coordinates and perform that operation on it. Oops, let me undo that part. I didn't mean to erase my shape. So whether your design has a place for you to write your coordinates or not, you can simply take each of the points, move 5 units right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 units down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Write your new letter with a prime sign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you do that all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't forget when you're drawing to write your prime signs. Those are those little, those are those little tick marks next to the letters, right? M with a little tick mark, prime sign. And then you connect your points like this. Okay? Let's try a reflection now. So with a reflection, you need to be careful that you are flipping over the correct axis. So be sure to read the directions carefully. And if it says to reflect in the y-axis, then you're going to move that symmetrical amount. So if you used to be 2 to the right, A prime will be 2 to the left. If you used to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the left. If you used to be 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, you'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, and you always use that axis of symmetry as your counting, as your place to count from. So that's one way you can reflect. Another way is to write down the original points. So the original point for A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 2, 6. So that means A prime, when you reflect over the y-axis, you change the x value. So if you know all of your original points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you know your original points, then you can find your prime points by negating the right values. And again, you plot them, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that makes sense, 2 to the right, 2 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, right, 6 to the right, 6 to the left, and you'll get the same shape. If I say to reflect in the x-axis, and you actually touch the x-axis, then when you draw your new shape, it's actually going to overlap. So watch this. Point A is 2 up from the x-axis, so A prime will be 2 down from the x-axis. B prime is 1, 2, 3, 4 up, so B prime will be 1, 2, 3, 4 down. And C is 1, 2, 3 down, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3 up. And yes, your shape will completely overlap the original shape. And that's okay. All right, how about the last one? How do you rotate? How do you rotate if you are given a shape? Well, this one, you can't really count boxes. You truly have to know what the original points are. So I'm going to take some notes here. I got to know what P, Q, and R. So P is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So P is 3, 7. Q is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. And R is 1, 2. And this is the rule for 90 degrees counterclockwise. You swap the order, counterclockwise, change the sign. You swap the order, counterclockwise, change the sign. Swap the X and Y, counterclockwise, change the sign. Now I can draw my rotation. Can't do it by counting boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. That's my new P prime. Negative 1, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's my new Q prime. And negative 2, 1. That's my new R prime. And there's my shape after it has rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, hope that helps.